Welcome to Generations of Health. For decades, we've been told to take vitamin D for our bones and omega-3 for our hearts. But what if I told you there's another vitamin, one that research from institutions like Harvard has shown to be critical for preventing the number one cause of death in seniors? Yet it's almost never talked about? It feels like a conspiracy of silence. To help us uncover this truth, we are honored to have Dr. James Whitmore with us today. Dr. James, with over 40 years of clinical experience, thank you for joining us. Is it true that there's a vital nutrient being systematically overlooked?
Thank you for having me, Anna. And yes, it's not just true, it's one of the most critical public health oversights I've seen in my entire career. We are talking about a vitamin whose primary job is to decide where one of the most dangerous minerals in the body goes, either safely to your bones or dangerously to your arteries.
That is a shocking claim. So today, with Dr. James' help, we will reveal exactly what this buried vitamin is, why it's been ignored for so long, and the simple, practical steps you can take to ensure you are getting enough. This is a conversation that could truly protect your future. Before we dive deeper, I'm curious to ask our community, when you think of heart health, which supplement comes to mind first? Omega-3 or calcium? Let me know in the comments. And if you're ready to uncover this medical mystery, please hit that subscribe button. Dr. James, let's start at the beginning. Before we even name this vitamin, what are the first subtle signs that this problem is already happening inside someone's body?
That's the critical question, Anna. The signs are often not dramatic. They don't scream heart disease. Instead, they whisper. I call it the calcium paradox. A person might notice small, hard bumps near their joints, which are actually calcium deposits. They might have a history of developing kidney stones. Or they notice their blood pressure is slowly creeping up, year after year, with no clear explanation from their diet or lifestyle. I had a patient, a 70-year-old gentleman from Scotland named Ian. He was a model of health, very active. He took his calcium and vitamin D supplements religiously for his bone density. But a preventative heart scan revealed that his coronary arteries, the arteries feeding his heart, had significant calcification. He was solving one problem, his bone health, while unknowingly creating a much more dangerous one.
So he was putting the right building material into his body, but it was ending up in all the wrong places. That's a truly frightening thought.
Exactly. These are the early warnings. The body is telling us that the traffic director for calcium is missing in action.
That's a powerful analogy. Which brings us to the main question. What is this missing traffic director? What is the vitamin that Harvard and others have researched, but we so rarely hear about?
The vitamin, the one that solves this paradox, is vitamin K2.
Now, most people, when they hear vitamin K, they think of leafy greens and blood clotting.
And they are right, but they are only thinking of vitamin K1. For decades, medical science focused almost exclusively on K1's role in clotting. Vitamin K2, which has a completely different job, acting as that traffic director for calcium, was largely overlooked. It was buried by the fame of its sibling.
So, what is the hard evidence for K2's role?
The evidence is now overwhelming. The most famous is the Rotterdam study, a massive, long-term Dutch study that followed thousands of adults. The results were groundbreaking. It found that participants with the highest intake of vitamin K2 had a dramatic 57% reduction in death from heart disease and significantly less arterial calcification compared to those with low intake. It proved that K2 is arguably one of the most important nutrients for cardiovascular health.
A 57% reduction? That's a staggering number. It's almost unbelievable that this isn't front-page news. Which leads me to the next question. If it's so important, what is the biggest mistake well-meaning people are making that's causing this deficiency?
The biggest mistake is thinking that a typical healthy Western diet provides you with what you need. A person could be eating a large salad full of leafy greens every single day. They think they are getting plenty of vitamin K.
But they're only getting K1.
Precisely. They are getting plenty of the blood-clotting vitamin, but almost no K2, the calcium-directing vitamin. Then, on top of that, they take their high-dose vitamin D and calcium supplements. They have unknowingly created the perfect storm we discussed. They are flooding their body with calcium, while having a surplus of the clotting vitamin and a deficiency of the one vitamin that could protect their arteries.
So, What are the best food sources? Where do we find this elusive K2?
The richest source on Earth is a traditional Japanese food called natto, which is fermented soybeans. It is an acquired taste, but it's incredibly powerful. For those with a European palate, high-quality, grass-fed hard cheeses like Gouda and Brie are also excellent sources, as are certain organ meats like goose liver.
I can see why it's so commonly missed in places like the US, UK, and Australia, where those foods aren't daily staples.
Exactly. Which is why for many, smart supplementation becomes a very practical solution.
This is such a crucial piece of the puzzle. So we have an over-reliance on K1 and a deficiency in K2. But how does this perfect storm actually lead to a stroke? Let's connect the final dots. That's a critical distinction to make, James. So now that we understand the mistake of getting only K1, how do we fix it? How do we get more of the right kind of vitamin K, the traffic director K2?
This is the most empowering part, Anna, because the solution is entirely within our control. There are two primary ways. First, through food. The richest source of vitamin K2 on Earth is a traditional Japanese food called natto, made from fermented soybeans. It has a unique taste, but its health benefits are off the charts.
I imagine natto might be hard to find for our audience in the US or UK. Are there any Western alternatives?
An excellent point. For a more familiar palate, certain high-quality grass-fed European cheeses like Gouda and Brie are also wonderful sources. The bacteria used in their fermentation process produce K2. You can also find it in smaller amounts in egg yolks and organ meats like liver.
So, a food-first approach is possible. But what about supplementation for those who find it difficult to eat these foods regularly?
For many, a supplement is the most practical and reliable solution. The key is to be a smart consumer. You must look for vitamin K2 specifically in the MK7 form. This form has been shown in studies to stay active in the body for much longer, giving it more time to do its important job of directing calcium. Often you can find high-quality formulas that combine vitamin D3 and K2 together, which is the ideal team.
That's an incredibly valuable tip. So it's not just about taking the vitamin, but taking the right form of it. But with any supplement, safety is always the primary concern. This is crucial information, Dr. James. But are there any safety warnings? Who needs to be especially cautious before increasing their vitamin K2 intake?
Thank you for asking that, Anna. This is non-negotiable, and I need everyone watching to listen very carefully. If you are taking any prescription blood-thinning medication, such as warfarin or Coumadin, you must not suddenly change your vitamin K intake from food or supplements without speaking to and working closely with your doctor.
And why is that?
Because vitamin K's role, particularly K1, is in blood clotting. Your medication's dosage is carefully calibrated based on your current, stable vitamin K intake. A sudden increase can interfere with how your medication works, which can be very dangerous. Safety must always come first. Please, have that conversation with your healthcare provider.
A vital warning for our community. Thank you. Now that we have the knowledge, the plan, and the safety rules, let's bring it all home. So, let's summarize the powerful lesson we've learned today. True cardiovascular and brain health isn't just about single nutrients in isolation. It's about synergy. It's about understanding that vitamin D, calcium, and the essential traffic director, vitamin K2, must work together as a team.
That's exactly right. My final advice is this. Become the CEO of your own health. Ask questions. Read the labels on your supplement bottles. Have these informed conversations with your doctor. Your body is the most valuable thing you will ever own, and it deserves that level of care and wisdom.
Thank you so much, Dr. James, for uncovering this buried truth for us today. And to our wonderful community, what was the most surprising thing you learned in this video? Let us know in the comments below. If this conversation has given you a critical piece of information to protect your health, please support our channel by hitting that like button. And don't forget to subscribe to Generations of Health for more deep dives that separate science from hype. Be well and be wise.